How we doing, Patrick?
Doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, man, it's a new week. Thank goodness. And it's a race week, right?
Race week.
We had a pretend race week last week.
Yeah, what happened to
Didn't
that?
remember we were doing the show with Randy and Elijah and the lightning was striking the house and, all that cool
About
stuff.
about took the power out at your
It
place.
then decided to rain in Meridian for like 3 days straight.
We got
Um,
snow down here.
oh, that's not good.
Yeah, no.
We had a little snow on Friday morning. But yeah, the puddles were just too much, man. The beer barn was flooded. I was there Thursday night with the guys trying to get the water out of the beer barn and shoveling out one side, and it was rolling in the other side, and um, the storm drains were all backed up. It was just it was not to be this weekend. Saturday it did. Like I said, we got some rain early Saturday morning. It stopped, but the pits were muddy. Can you imagine parking a super late model in the infield on a nice muddy Saturday
Yeah,
afternoon at Meridian Speedway?
not good.
So, but I know a few of our local drivers and some of the guys. We did a quick little interview with Kyle Telstrom yesterday. He was sitting on the pole for quick time for the Apple Cup,
Mhm.
which is pretty cool. He won it last year, so I appreciate Kyle coming in. It was like a 30 seconds between qualifying and jumping in the car, but I would definitely Kyle's one of our favorites to watch. We're going to be watching him in a wing sprint car. We saw him a little bit last year too, so
Yeah.
it's always cool to have Kyle on. So I appreciate Kyle and the crew doing that. They had a pretty success. They had top 5 finish. Garrett Evans, one of the legends of super late model racing, picked up. Well, I was trying to remember. I was going to have the stat. I think he either won or participated in his first Apple Cup in 1977. He won
Dang.
this one in 2024. So
A little bit of experience.
a little bit of experience. Almost before I was born. I wish he would have won it in 74. Then I could have said, but I'm just right there. I was just a toddler. But
Hey, it just goes to show that it doesn't matter. Young to old, people can race. I mean, if you want to race, you can do it.
Yep. Yeah. It's kind of cool to see the older guys pick one up every now and then it's cool to see a 16 or 17-year-old cross the line and take home the checkers as well. So
Yeah.
That's why we love what we do.
Right. It could be anybody, any night. I love it.
So big weekend coming up at Meridian Speedway. Like I said, the opener got rained out, so that date is in the past. Track management will, decide. Everybody's got a ton of races anyway, but that's up to track management. They'll figure it out. But Adam and the crew, they worked their tails off till finally Friday. It was like, it's hard to pump the puddles when the puddles are growing this quicker than you can pump them. So,
Yeah.
one cool thing about living in the desert of Meridian is hopefully that's it. Hopefully it'll be like 110 and sunny all the way through Halloween when we're done racing.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Probably not. It's only like 45 outside now, but still a little chilly. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
70 Wednesday. So by the time everybody starts rolling into town.
But
But
got me looking. Yeah, we're the 40s yet right now. Dang.
you still got snow outside?
No, it melted. We actually did a little bike ride today. No big deal. It was a little cold, but
Nice.
made it happen. But this weekend it's going to get in the 70s down here too. So race weather.
That's sleeveless shirt and short shorts weather.
Oh, not for this guy. Oh my goodness, my neighbors don't deserve that. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
was gonna say, I might be okay, but yeah, we would definitely only have about 13 people watching the sprint car races if I ran down those bleachers in short 1970 shorts. That's for sure.
One day we should do that. You and me, we'll do sleeveless and shorts. We'll just rock it
Sleeveless
and whatever.
and cutoffs, right?
Yeah.
Let's just make sure it's not a big show day because we don't want to take any money from the racetrack, right? Adam will charge us instead of pay us. Hey, this young lady, Speed Tour sprint cars are coming up. Of course, the season is always awesome. All the Speed Tour sprint car races are going to be televised live on Flow Racing. So the entire night, but all the Speed Tour sprint car events, including this coming Saturday and 2 Saturdays, we're all going to be hanging out with you at Magic Valley Speedway for a Speed Tour sprint car opener. So it's that time of year. As long as Mother Nature can get herself under control.
Yeah, she needs to chill out.
Before we bring Natalie on, want to remind all the folks watching that you can comment, ask her a question, say hi, whatever, throughout the show. And we'll get as many of those on as we can. Like this very First one, what's up, guys? That's all we need. It's just interaction.
There you go.
And what's up is probably one of the best young race car drivers. You've had a lot of opportunity to watch this young lady. We've all had an opportunity to watch her family. So let's bring Miss Natalie Waters on here real quick.
Hey,
Natalie,
guys.
how are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing great.
Good.
So this is it. Season opener. You guys had the big Autorama, the car show down there. Tell us a little bit about how the off season's been, and then we'll chat a little bit about last year. And I'm sure Patrick's got some cool questions, and we'll hook up for 2024. But how did the off season go? Wintertime, getting everything ready, and of course the big car show last weekend kind of wraps it up for you guys before you strap on the helmet and go racing.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, it was a long, hard off season. At least it was shorter because we had a Vegas race in the middle of it. So we did get that little bit shortened up. And, we did hurt the motor down in Vegas. So we just barely got the motor put back in about 2 weeks ago. We were kind of scraping by trying to get ready for the Autorama. And then, of course, Monty, he did a great job on the wrap this year, and he just got that put on a couple weeks ago. And since then, we've just been polishing and shining and getting the car ready for the Autorama. And, that's the only reason we didn't make it to practice is we just got the car all nice and cleaned up and ready for the show. And do we really want to go down there and get some dirt on the nice clean tires? And I'll tell you that these tires are going to be slick for the first race. I'm we put the first race tires on the car for the show, and the amount of tire shine that has been on those tires. It's going to be a fun practice on Friday night.
That'll be a little slippery.
Yeah.
Tell us about Vegas. How was that experience? I mean, I know it obviously didn't go the way that you guys had hoped, but in your first year's racing in these sprint cars, going down to an event like that, what was that like?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the Vegas race itself was amazing. I loved the way that they put it together, and everything was just fast moving, and it was my favorite thing about it was no sprint car guys had ever ran a sprint car there before. And so it was just leveled that playing field, right? Nobody had an edge. Nobody knew what setup to run or what times we should be turning. And it just was such a cool experience, not only be there for, but to participate in. And, we struggled in Vegas, but we pushed through as much as we could. It was a lot like the Pink Lady.
Yes.
And the Pink Lady, one of our biggest struggles was we had just gotten a new driveline and the whole train and everything because we had the U-joint blow apart in Twin Falls at the Skunk Cup 50. And, that was just the start of the domino effect. It was after that, my grandpa John, he got it all put back together and we rolled that driveline and it was straight, it was sound. And so we put it back in the car for the Pink Lady and we got there and the car vibrated like crazy. It was you couldn't even see anything straight. It was so bad. And we finally figured out that it was in fact bent. And so we had to get a new one for Vegas. And then that new one we got for Vegas just was a faulty part. And where the ball goes on to that and they spline together, the splines didn't match up. One had 32 splines and one had 31, and they heat pressed them together. And so the second that the car fired, it just stripped out of it. And we couldn't find the issue the whole time because there was no metal in the gear oil, because if it stripped out, we'd find metal in it, but
yeah,
it never stripped out. It just, acted like it did. And so it took us 6 hours to figure out what it was. We swapped rear ends 3 times because we thought something broke in the rear end. And then we finally got it figured out and practice was over for all of Thursday. And they let us fire the car, go for 1 lap and come off. And so all the other guys that were there had a full 6-hour day of practice,
right.
And we had none. And so we we showed up and they didn't do any practice at all on Friday or Saturday. You got 3 laps. It was just a push to fire. And that was all the practice we got. And it was straight to qualifying, straight to heat races. And so the first time I really got on the track and got to go was to qualify, and so it was pretty rough. And we, different elevation down there, different densities, just trying to figure out the fuel. And we were too rich, and then we were too lean, and then the motor was missing the entire time I was qualifying. And so we didn't qualify very good. And then in the heat race, we figured out a little bit more, and then someone said our gauge was wrong that we were using to set the barrel valve. And so we used somebody else's, and it leaned the motor way out, and it was running good. And we were in the B main, and I really didn't have much hope for it. We started in the very back, like 26th, I think. And then the top 6 transferred. So we were like, well, it was fun to run here. We're just going to go out and give it our best. And then all of a sudden, like the first lap, they took out like 10 cars. Like it was like this huge wreck. And so then all of a sudden I went from like 26 to like 15th. And then it was like, holy crap, we might get a shot at this. And it just kept going that way. And I was getting ready to pass for that 6th place position, like, oh my God, we're going to make the race, and then all of a sudden, the car just fell off, and cars that I had lapped were starting to pass me. And I was like, like, what is happening? And then my gauges, I checked, and, the temperature was running hot, but not too hot. And then all of a sudden it just climbed, and as soon as I pulled down into the middle of the track and shut the car off, it was just smoke everywhere. Then even after that, they came down, one of Davey Hamilton Jr.'s guys, and they gave us the provisional for the race. And so we could have started the A main event, and we had to turn it down because we didn't have a motor anymore. But I mean, overall, we tried our best. We almost made it, but I mean, we did make it if we would have had the motor. But it was a cool experience. It was cold, but I definitely do it again.
Right. Patrick, you got anything?
Yeah, so like a lot of my questions I had are revolving around like this a little bit about the off season, this upcoming season. So number one thing that I wanted to know from you, Natalie, is like what changes have been made to the car or to how you've been preparing? Because, like anybody that follows you has seen you're always working out, you're getting yourself ready, and so that, you can stay in race shape. People don't realize how tough racing is. They think it's just like driving their little station wagon around to the grocery store. Definitely not. I've never raced, but I know that that's not the case. But what changes have you made maybe for yourself and for the car this off season?
Yeah, a lot just for myself, in the beginning of the year, we found out that our steering box was bad. And so the whole beginning of the year, like I'd go 5 laps on the track and I was dead. Like I was like, my arms can't do it anymore. And like my grandpa, he was like, oh, you just got to go hit the gym. You're fine. The car's fine. And then like 3 or 4 races into the year, he's like, maybe we ought to have that, that steering box service. And so we brought it. He shipped it off, and we got it. The guy gave us a call, and he's like, do you guys know what you got here? And like, no, not really. Why? He's like, this is a 30-year-old steering box. Like, this thing's been serviced maybe once. And so, we got it. We had it rebuilt, and that helped a lot. But, just my endurance hasn't, it's improved a little bit, but to run that many laps and you don't realize like just the speed and how fast everything happens, like your heart rate is just going all the time. And so about halfway through the race, I'm just like out of breath, like my arms aren't tired, but it's just like, I can't breathe. And so I've started running a lot more, and that's helped a ton. In Vegas, I was out of the car and ready to get back in, and so that's helped a ton, just running miles. And then with the car, just updating things here and there, and learning a lot about the driveline. We've learned a lot about that. And we've actually made an improvement to our gauges as well, because mine, they're just the regular like glow in the dark gauges that everybody has. And when you're racing at night and you go past the lights on the track, and they just like reflect on that, and so you can't really see it very well. And so I just, know the point in the gauge, and, I'm not reading the numbers or anything. And so in Vegas, it was hard to tell where exactly was too much. And so we've updated our gauges. So now they'll flash and they actually light up, they turn on. So I have to remember to turn them on every race now, but they'll light up. And then if my oil pressure gets low or the water temp gets too high, they'll start flashing at me. So hopefully we can save the motor this year.
Hey, that's cool. Small change, but actually super important, huh?
Yeah. It was worth the money for sure.
Right on. What do you do in the off season to kind of stay motivated for race season?
A lot of it, we go hunting. We're big hunters and big outdoor people. And so the off season's really our chance to go to the mountains. And that even, helps stay in shape for the next race season. We're hiking around, we're getting up really early in the mornings. And then it also gives us a chance to, hang out with my Uncle Jim and, that whole crew and everybody. We all do that together. And then, just watching the races, the Chili Bowl National, that's a big thing for us. we have a big party. We have chili here and we really love watching that. And, just doing local stuff. We went go-kart racing and we want to go again. And we have the Utah Motorsports campus out here in Tooele, so we get to hear the supercars going around the track from our house. So that's good motivation.
Yeah, you're not too far from there, are you?
No, we're about 5 to 10 minutes away. If they'd build an oval track there, it'd save us some time. Get a motor fired.
Right on. So okay, so do you have a main goal for this season? Something that you want to accomplish?
I want to win a race.
Okay, win a main event?
Win a main event, yeah.
Okay. Now, is there a particular main event you've got circled? Like, hey, this is the one, like that if I chose one I wanted to win, this is the one I'm attacking for?
I would say the Skunk Cup 50, because in the midget, I dominated in Twin Falls. I got 2 championships there, track records, and that's my track. Like, if I'm gonna win something there, I want to win that Skunk Cup 50 this year.
Right on. Glad I'll be there. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And then, so the Autorama was this past weekend. So you kind of showed the wrap, the new wrap on the car for the first time. Also, if you're watching this at home and you didn't make it to the Autorama, you might want to go next year because are you going to be there next year too, Natalie?
Oh yeah, every year.
Okay, so Natalie's been going every year, raffling off stuff like TVs and stuff. So I'm just saying you could walk home with some cool stuff too. So you're going to want to not miss that out. But about the wrap, I wanted to ask, B Graphics does a great job. How much are you in on the design of that? Or do you just kind of let Monty, you just say, hey, Monty, make it look cool, and he just does his thing? Or are you making little adjustments and stuff like that?
Well, I don't know if you've met John Waters, but he's a little bit OCD in particular. So, we kind of give him ideas. We find cars and stuff, or a lot of the things we do is past designs that we've had are that, the one on the midget is one of our favorites, that white car. And so we just kind of give him ideas and he spits out a cool car, and he usually gives us about 3 or 4 designs because he knows that Grandpa's picky. So we'll pick one and then we'll change it up, say, hey, can you add this to it or add that to it? And then we decide where we're going to put sponsors and do all that. And, if the number needs to move a ½ inch to the right, so we help do the details, but he does amazing work. He sends us a good design or 2, and we usually don't have to go back and forth too much.
Right on. Yeah, it looks great every year. I've loved it. So whatever you guys are doing, that system, just keep it up because it looks great.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So when it comes to race day, you're in your car, new gauges, light up, flashy gauges, everything's all ready to go. Do you have like rituals or like superstitions, like I've got to do this before the race or during the race or whatever?
I have Chase, my boyfriend. He's the only one allowed to bring me my helmet when I get in the car, because if I'm gonna be superstitious about anything, it's do not hold my helmet upside down. Like, that is my biggest thing ever. And I have so many friends that'll come to a race and they'll run and grab my helmet for me and come running out with it upside down. And it's like, oh my gosh. Like, if anything bad happens tonight, it's your fault.
That's the reason, right?
But that one's a big one for us. And, green in the pits, we haven't been too bad about it, but when something bad happens, that's because there was green in the pits. It wasn't because someone forgot to do this or that, But other than that, I mean, we don't do anything too big. My grandpa comes and I'll just sit there and he says I zone out. I just sit in the chair and, think really hard about what I'm going to do and, what is everybody else going to do. And, the starts are the big things that I contemplate, who's going to go, which line am I in? Is he going to follow? Is he going to follow? Should I dart to the bottom when I can? And So that's really all going through my head, and he'll just sit next to me and pat me on the back, and he's like, "You got it." I'm like, "What do you mean you got it?" He's like, "I know you're thinking through it."
Something's going through there.
And we'll kind of have a talk about it and stuff. And he reads my mind. He's like, "You don't need to worry about this and that." I'm like, "How'd you know that's what I was thinking about?"
He's been around a race or two, so.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite race day snack?
Ooh.
Oh, I would say just drinking a lot of Mountain Dew. I don't eat very much actually, I gotta say a cheeseburger. I always have a racetrack cheeseburger.
Yes.
For a main event. Like that, even at like Rocky Mountain Raceways, like they're like, "Hey, someone brought KFC or whatever." Like, "No, give me that. Go give me a cheeseburger."
Yes. I knew I liked you for a reason. That's my favorite too. I love it. What advice have you got for anybody out there that's maybe a youngster like you were? You're all growing up on us now, but I've seen you race, since you were little. And so for somebody that maybe has a teenager, young teenager that's looking at, maybe I want to get started in this racing thing, what kind of stuff would you say to them? What advice would you have?
I would just say, don't be afraid. There are so many people that I've talked to, and they're like, I really want to race, but I know all the guys that race, and they've been racing for years, and I probably won't do very good. Or what if I wreck? And that was a big thing for me. What if I wreck? And for race car drivers who've been racing for a long time, it's not if, it's when. And my biggest thing, even though it destroyed a car and I didn't get hurt, but I was sore. My first wreck, after that first wreck, I won the next championship, because I wasn't afraid anymore. I was like, I just went through the worst of the worst, and I was fine. What do I have to be afraid of? And so that would probably be a big one for me. And of course, don't drive over your head. I see a lot of kids that, think, "Oh, they can do it, I can do it." And then they just jump in the car and go to set the world on fire and end up in the wall the first turn, or lock up the brakes going into turn one, and so those are probably my two big ones. Don't be afraid, and don't drive over your head.
Right on. Tell us a little bit about the campaign that you've been supporting against bullying.
Yeah, so we are behind the Race to End Bullying. We started it with Monty Bergner, and the big thing is just I was getting so many followers, and we go to these autoramas and we do these shows, and then we go to the track, and if so many people are following me and doing all this, why not spread a message? We have so many people listening to everything I have to say. Like, why not use that and spread something good? And out here in Tooele, we have one of the highest suicide rates, and so I just somebody's got to do something about it, and might as well be me. And so we started that a couple years ago, and then last year we really pushed it a lot more, and we went to high schools and elementary schools. And I had a little boy that came up to me at the Autorama last year, and you could tell he didn't come from a rich family or anything. His clothes were all dirty. He had some holes in his shoes, and he didn't have anybody with him. He was probably in second grade, and he just walked up to me and asked if I could come to his school because he was getting bullied and he didn't know how to help it or how to fix it. And if I could come and tell the kids there to be nice to him. And so his dad came over and, was like, "Oh, what are you doing over here, bud?" And like, he was just telling us about the bullying. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we've been struggling for a few years and whatever." And so they actually happened to be from Tooele. And so we went to St. Marguerite's over there, and we took the car and we called his principal and his teacher, and we didn't tell him or tell his parents, and he just walked out, and there I was with the car, and he was so excited, and he sat in the car, and we got all the other kids in the car, and gave a talk about bullying and handed out stickers and stuff. And we still hear from his parents every once in a while about how he's doing and stuff like that. And so we just want to, that's our biggest thing, is just going to schools. That's where it starts, that's where it happens the most. And anybody that wants us to come or whatever, we'll be there. And we're actually going to one in May at Bonneville High School here in Utah. So it's really fun, and it doesn't hurt us, it doesn't hurt anybody else. So why not do as much of it as we can?
So if somebody wants to help support this campaign, what's the best way for them to get involved?
Yeah, so we're actually in the process right now of getting it set up as a foundation so that we can do more with it. So we can take donations, and then those donations will actually help us go to more schools, because, when we have to take, all three of us have to take a day off of work. We have to get the car cleaned up and loaded. And then we have to go and put PowerPoint presentations together and have Monty make us banners and do all that stuff. And so people can donate to help us do that, or they can also, just spread the message. And we have stickers for all the other drivers if they want to run a sticker on their car, race 10 bullying, and just share the stuff we post and help us spread the word.
Right on. And I heard that, so, and you got some hats too?
Yes, we did. We just barely got hats. Monty just got us hats. They're really cool. They're like the old trucker style. Yeah, we'll have them at the track.
And so any track that you're at, if anybody sees you, they can get a sticker or buy a hat and support the cause.
Yep.
Sweet. Right on. And so if somebody's got a school they want you to come to, is the best way to reach out on your Facebook page?
Yeah, probably. I mean, my email is on there as well, but either one, they both, come up at the same time. I check both of them regularly. So any way they see to contact us, do it.
Right on. So, and you can see on the screen right now at the bottom, Nat Attack on Facebook. So if you don't follow her yet, you should. So follow along there. And if you've got a school or if you've got a visit that you want to get scheduled up to see if they can work it into the calendar, make sure you reach out, because it's a great campaign. I'm in on that too. Bullying is stupid. So I'm going to support the cause, and I hope everyone else that's watching at home can join in too. So if you see Natalie at a racetrack, which you should, because she's fun to watch, make sure you stop by after the race, because she'll hang out there after every race down there in the pits. There's always a party in the pit. She'll sign autographs or let you get close to the car. You can buy a hat. If you want to donate for the upcoming foundation, you can do that and talk to Natalie more about that. So do you have anything for her, Brent?
Yeah, even her Facebook page can't wait to watch her race. We got a comment from the Nat Attack Facebook page.
Right on.
Our buddy from down there where you guys are, Jeremy White, saying that Natalie's such a great role model for kids and the future drivers, and everybody down there's proud of you and your team. So love to hear that from some of the folks that have been down there and watching you grow up at the racetrack. Out of town stuff. Are you planning on? Did you guys go to Colorado last year?
We did, yes.
Is that on your agenda?
Yep. So the only two we have outside of Idaho is that one in Colorado, and then we are signed up for this year's Open Wheel Showdown in Irwindale, California.
And that's going to be a big one too. Randy said, what did you think about your first experience at Colorado National last summer? I know they love the sprint cars. The King of the Wing kind of dove in there for a while, and all of that. So what was your experiences up there?
I loved it. I think just the people that are there in the environment, everybody was so nice, and it was kind of a different environment. They had never heard of a female sprint car driver, and I grew up with the Jacksons down there and here in Salt Lake, and a couple others, and Audra Cecily and all them. And so I was like, oh, you've never, it was like I was a god down there. Like, you drive sprint cars, and so that was pretty awesome. And then just everybody was so nice, and they cooked for us and did all that. And then the track itself, it was such, like to be back on a 3/8 mile, since RMR, that was awesome, especially in a sprint car. When we're going around the track, I came in the pits and my grandpa was like, you could have stayed out there a few more laps. I'm like, I feel like I've had an elephant sitting on my chest for the last 10 laps, like just going that speed and not using any brake, just it's like burping the gas and get right back on. And it was just such a different driving experience, to not have to brake. It's like going in the corner, like, oh, hopefully this works. It was actually Anthony Quintana, and I was talking to him like, I just cannot seem to click off the times that you guys are doing. What are you doing different? And he's like, well, are you still using brake? I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, just one lap, just don't go in as deep and don't touch the brake. I trusted him and clicked off half a second faster. Wow. So, it's crazy just to go that fast. And the track is just, it's more, you know, it's a lot like Rocky Mountain Raceways, but at the same time, it's not. It's the same size, but it's more of a circle than an oval. So it allows those corners to be wider and more of a sweep, so you don't have to slow down as much. And yeah, it really helped me coming back to Twin Falls and Meridian. You know, that's when I got top of the board in practice and then did really well in the Diamond Cup. And all that happened just right after Colorado.
Right. So taking your experiences from there.
Mm-hmm.
So for the fans out there, I mean, like I said, we've all had the pleasure of watching you grow up, and we know Patrick and I have been really kind of pushing the family aspect of what we do in motorsports. So maybe for some of these folks that don't know, you know, they saw Natalie Waters in the #1 winning sprint car last year, and but what's the history? Tell us a little bit about your family and how you got involved. I know Rocky Mountain Raceway and everything down there in Salt Lake had a whole lot to do with it.
Yeah, of course. So when I was little, I moved a lot and I always wanted to do something, you know, like I would dance or do cheer or, you know, but everywhere we moved, I was like, oh, well, now I can't dance with them or cheer with them. And, you know,
Right.
and so we didn't actually have any kids series here in Salt Lake until, you know, my grandpa noticed and he was like, well, we need to get her involved, you know, do something. And so, you know, he talked to Dan and Mike, the track owner down there, and he was like, let's start a quarter midget series. Dan was like all in for it. He's like, yeah, you go get me 10 people, 10 kids, and I'll talk to Mike and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And it was just like that next summer, and we had like 20 something quarter midgets. And I got to go out and race. And the first race I ran, I won. And that was it.
Was
We
it?
raced every weekend after that. And, you know, that's also where I got the #1 in the orange car. It was the first car that I got was actually, it was orange and #1. And we didn't have time to switch it up before the first race. And so we just left it. And then I won the first race and I was like, oh, it was the orange and #1. So we kept it. And it's been our good luck. You know, I've had sponsors be like, hey, I'll sponsor you this if you change the car to red. I'm like, no, sorry. it's gotta be orange. And so then, you know, that's what started that. And so I raced quarter midgets until I was from the time I was 6 till I was about 12 years old. And then they, you know, Rocky Mountain, I really wanted to run focus midgets. And Mike was like, hey, listen, you're only 12. Like you can't just jump in a midget. So do 1 year in a junior stinger. And this yellow Hornet where you got banged up and you got rear-ended, and I was done. I did it for like 1 year and then I was like, hey, where's my focus midget? Like, we're
Yep.
done with this. And so I ran focus midgets for 4 years. And so I ran strictly at RMR my first year with Chaz. And then the second year we started traveling. We came up to Meridian and Twin Falls. And then we went down to Vegas. And, you know, then we met a bunch of new people and I won my first championship in Twin Falls. And then the second year we had some rough luck and I jumped into a limited wing sprint car the next year with running the midget as well. And, you know, that was crazy running a limited wing sprint car at RMR and then traveling with the midget. And some nights I was doing double duty. I was 14 and doing all that. And, you know, that was really cool. And I got one win on one night at RMR, that very last night. And I won in the midget and in the sprint car. And Sid, you know, was in our spare car in the 11, and me and him finished side by side that night. And I beat him by like 0.02 of a second. And then went and won the race in the limited wing sprint car. And it was just like that. If we were going to end Rocky Mountain Raceways, like that was the way to do it. That was the way to go out, you know? And so then the next year we did one more year in the focus midget and I won the championship and broke the track record there in Meridian and then up in Twin Falls. And so we moved up into the modifieds and I ran just the Twin Falls series the first year and got a win. And then the next year we decided to do speed tour, you know, wanted to get more experience running at different tracks at different weeks and to more competitive drivers and do all that. And so that was really fun getting to go up to Oregon and Hermiston and all that. And, you know, then here come the sprint car, and that was the dream, you know. And so we just poured everything into it and did better than we thought we would last year, and so we're ready to give it all this year.
So Jeremy says you must have had fun junior Stingers and Hornets, right? In the RMR days. It is a different experience, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I was 12 learning how to drive a stick shift. Yep. And it like I had to sit because I haven't grown in like 5 years. So when I was 12, I was like 4'11", and I had to sit so close to the steering wheel. It was like right here. And then I had to like reach behind me to reach the shifter. And so it was like super awkward. And so I would just start in second gear and leave it at that. So I didn't have to reach back there and find it, while I was racing. But gosh, I was taught, to race an open wheel. You don't touch each other, because if you do, you're hopping tires and you're spinning out and you're doing this. And so then to get in a junior Stinger and they're just moving you out of the way. And I was like, black flag him.
Yeah.
And I hated it. We reset the toe on that car like 3 times every night. So, to get back in the midget that next year, I was like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. No, none of that full body stuff. We struggled too in the modified, banging up on each other and stuff. But yeah, no, I don't miss those junior Stingers at all.
Not at all. Okay, so dumb question. Out of everything you've got the chance to drive, I think we all know the answer probably. What's your favorite? I mean, you got that full year in the wing sprint car now. I'm getting ready for year number 2, but for as young as you are, you've had a broad experience. What really gets Natalie Waters going when it's time to strap in a race car? Which car?
I mean, I gotta say a sprint car. I mean, I really loved the midgets. I got so comfortable in them. I knew exactly what it was going to do at every point and all of that. And so I feel like I'm definitely the best in the midget. I've dominated that car. I know exactly how it feels. And so I like driving the midget for that reason, but there's nothing like driving a sprint car, going to, just barely touching the gas, and that car jumps forward, and, just going into the corners that deep and trusting the car, be able to stand on the gas coming out of the corners. Yeah. It doesn't compete.
That's it. Huh?
Yeah.
But as you've come up through, I mean, I know it really seemed like, just from the outside looking in, and I know Dan was always so proud of you and all of the kids in those midget divisions. Just the family aspect that you guys have grown. I mean, I know a lot of you are related here and there, but just getting the opportunity to grow with those other drivers. Obviously, some of them that we've lost, and just the camaraderie. Is that something important to you guys as you roll up into these different divisions?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, these sprint car guys this is one of the nicest, most respectful groups I've ever raced in. And I've ran a lot of series and different cars, and it tops it all. I mean, those guys are so nice and always willing to help, and, running down, congratulating me, when Corey got into me with his gas stuck down the pink lady, it was like, before I could even gather my thoughts, he was out of his car and in my car, making sure I was okay. And they're just amazing people. And then, to run with my Uncle Jim and, Anthony every weekend is so much fun. We all go to dinner afterwards. And, I was a little heartbroken when we left the midgets, because we had such a tight knit group. I was racing with 3 or 4 cousins, and, River and Cheyenne and Ashland, we all grew up racing quarter midgets together. And, to move up like that together, it was just such a cool experience to see, out of everybody that raced when we were 8 years old, we were the ones that stuck with it. And, the modifieds was fun running with Lynn. That one, there was one race he came out of retirement, and, he taught me everything about running a modified. And he told, a lot of the times he would tell me, like, get up right on, bump him a little bit, get up there and put the pressure on him. And I was always so afraid to do it. And then when I raced against him, I did it. And he was like, I meant you can do it to other people.
Not.
I just want to show you I was listening to you. So that was a ton of fun. But yeah, I love racing with these guys in these sprint cars. They're, just the parties after the races, hanging out with Tellstrom and Brad and everybody. It's just like a whole nother family out there.
And Randy has a good question. It was one on my list. So once you started, who did you look up to? Was there that one person, or was it just kind of a group? Who were you trying to model yourself after?
I always looked up to, my Uncle Jim as a sprint car driver, just because, he just dominated. He was so good at Rocky Mountain Raceways. And when we went and traveled with him, and he would still do well, and, everybody knew him. And it was just, when it came to sprint cars, that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be like him. And then, living in Salt Lake, we'd have those big sprint car races like the Salt Lake 100 and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, when Sierra Jackson came rolling into town, that was a big one. We'd all walk past their trailer and look at the cars and see her get out, and then go out and win the race. And I always thought that was so cool, to have some young female driver show up and go and set the world on fire and then leave and go back home. That was awesome. I was like,
Right.
Let's do that. And then, Audra Cicelli, she was a big one there in Salt Lake City. And of course my Uncle Lynn, and he was just like Jim on the modified side. But yeah, those are probably my big four right there.
Awesome. Patrick, you got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
You're good. Patrick's just ready to go sprint car
I just
racing.
want to watch a race. Like, I'm ready for opening day. I'm ready. Like, I got my outfit picked out and everything,
And he's mad because I get to watch opening day 2 weeks earlier. You can come up, Patrick. I got plenty of room in the house, garage. Come on up. We'll let you guys sleep, hang out.
Hey, don't tempt me because I might sneak up there. Just don't tell my wife.
Hey, we got a whole trailer heading up that way, right past you.
See? All you got to do is just tell, if she wonders where you were, just be like, I don't know, this trailer went by, they grabbed me.
I got kidnapped. What can you say?
Yeah, we just strapped him in the car and he couldn't get out, put the armor strengths on there.
Hey, this might work. We might have to do something. Keep it on the DL.
Oh yeah. We got you, Patrick.
Right on. I love it.
Well, hey, Natalie, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's a busy, crazy time of year as these first few weeks roll in. So appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course.
It's like you said, and I every time we chatted with Dan, and when I would go down there to Salt Lake, he was always so proud of that group of kids, you guys that started those, the quarter midgets, and he loved it when you guys came into Meridian. So it's been awesome. I know Patrick's had firsthand experience watching you down there, but it's been awesome. You talk about Sierra, and you were watching, looking up to her. Guess what? Now you got a ton of them looking up to you. And it's time for you to go set that world on fire this year. And hopefully we can get that started on Saturday night, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we've been watching the weather, it started at 77. I've been checking it every day. And it dropped way low until today. And then it was back up to 77. I texted everybody. I was like, you see the weather's back up. We're going to be good.
Well, before we set you free so you guys can get ready for a trip to Meridian, who helps you out? I know you've mentioned a lot of names, but it always takes the sponsors, the dollars, and those guys turn in the wrenches. So why don't you give them a quick shout out, and then we'll let you go get your bags packed for downtown Meridian here in about 4 or 5 days.
Oh yeah, for sure. My grandpa John Waters, nothing would be possible without him. We'd be lost for words. And he gives Chase crap all the time. He's like, hey, you're the new crew chief of the next race. He actually printed him a little cheat sheet that says if the car's too tight, do this. do this. So those are my two main guys right there. And then, my Uncle Lynn Hardy comes and helps us. My Uncle Sid, Clinton, and then Buzz, one of our crew guys. They're just a ton of help every race that they can make it to. And then, my grandma Sherry, she keeps us fed and hydrated and gets our merchandise out there. And so her for sure. And then just all the fans, all the other drivers, you guys are amazing. And then, I've got to, always thank all my big sponsors and everybody that helps us there. Wickless Sensations and B Graphics. He does amazing work. West Valley Collision and Repair, Redemption, Redbone, and Brad Hunziker, Overkill, and the Inner West Fire Protection and Fruitland Rock. They're amazing people every race.
All right. Well, we're going to be ready. We'll do our best to make it 77 and sunny on Saturday because, it's time. It's time to get this thing rolling. With the first weekend washed out, the fans up here in Meridian are going to be hyped up and ready to see some
Oh,
wing
yeah.
sprint cars. And
We're
we'll
ready.
send
We're
them down
hyped
your way
up.
for the party in the pits, and Patrick will be ready. Hey, I tell you, Patrick, you be standing out there on the freeway. I bet you they stop for you.
I only live like 3 minutes from the freeway, so
Yeah.
I could get there in a hurry.
All right, we'll keep our eyes out. We got like 5 guys riding up with us. We'll have all eyes ready.
All right, there you go, Patrick. I expect to see you Saturday afternoon,
Yeah.
Friday night. All right, Natalie. Hey, good luck. We'll talk to you up here on Saturday. I'd like to grab you and do a quick flow racing interview as we get ready to kick off our
Yes.
2024 flow racing broadcast up here at Meridian and at Magic Valley on the 27th. Patrick will be live on flow with us on the 27th to kick that off too. So safe travels, and we'll
Thank
chat
you.
with you on Friday and Saturday. And maybe we can do a little pit stop podcast live from the winner's circle with the
Yeah.
number 1 car.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Natalie. Thanks a lot, hon. Have a great trip up here, and we'll see you this weekend.
Thanks you guys for having me.
Yep.
Thanks, Nancy.
There you go, Patrick. That's all it is, man. It's all about the family and watching these kids grow up. And then it makes me feel old when I say the kids are growing up, and we got a young lady that is definitely getting ready to take the world by storm a little bit more. I mean, I know she's very successful in the midgets there, and we appreciate her taking her time to come on and hang out with us here tonight.
Yeah, I remember, years back working, I was actually working in the media, got invited to a media day at Rocky Mountain Raceways before I was announcing there. And that's kind of when Natalie was making the jump to the midget. And they had the car there at the track, and she was there greeting everybody and answering questions and that. And I could not believe that this tiny little girl was racing, with the big boys and that. And but talking to her for just a couple minutes there real quick, she's obviously very well spoken and a very polite young lady. And you could tell there was something different about this little girl. And so, been watching her ever since. My kids love watching her race. I love it too. And I didn't grow up in racing. I've always thought it's cool to watch. But didn't spend a lot of time around the track. But the moment I started going to Rocky Mountain Raceways, these families, like the Waters family, they make you feel like you're part of their family. So if you go to a race, you have to go down after the race. Natalie, she's there. She'll sign up, like I said, take a picture, sign an autograph, just chat with you if you want, right? Her grandpa John, he's got a lot to worry about on race day, but you can approach him. Nice guy, a little quiet for my liking, right? But you know what I mean. You can chat it up with him. Like I said, he's got a lot to worry about. Awesome dude, and Grandma Sherry too. This woman is an angel. If you haven't met her, you need to, because your life will be better for it. So this is just one example of one of these families that, for me and my family, have made us feel super welcome at the racetrack, and they make you want to go back every single weekend. Even if, watching the racing is like the ultimate awesomeness, and then you get to go hang out with people like that after, and it takes it to a whole nother level. So you don't have to be a racer to be part of the family. If you just go to the racetrack and you're family to us.
I tell you what, man, I told you that the minute Dan sent you up there to do that Diamond Cup with me, you were locked in. And it's the way it is, and that's why we love having you down at Twin Falls too. Speaking of Magic Valley Speedway, time to heat that racetrack up. This weekend is Test and Tune. I do believe I tried to get a hold of Spank before. I think it's from 1 to 6 on Saturday.
That sounds right.
Do it on the 13th and the 20th, and then get ready to fire that place up. Natalie and the crew is going to be there on the 27th. You like my cheat sheet? It's my poster. I haven't hung up yet.
Dude, I need one of those.
This looks real professional, right?
I like it.
Speed Tour Sprint Cars, Western Mountain Inc., NASCAR late models, midgets are going to be there. Your season opener on the 27th, along with McDonald's Street Stocks, Pepsi Mini Stocks, Bombers, and Bandoleros are going to be up there. Some of the kids, the Websters, Tucker, and the crew are going to be there to kick off the season with you. And it's going to be so exciting. We're going to turn Meridian Speedway over to the Drifters, and we're all going to jump in the truck and come down and hang out with all of our good friends there at Magic Valley Speedway on the 27th.
I love it. We love when you guys come down to Twin to hang out with us. And then on a race day like this, opening day, folks, if you're watching at home and you haven't been to a racetrack, perfect day to go. because you will literally see everybody from little kids. Bandoleros is a class of racing, if you're not familiar with it, youngsters, and I'm talking 5-year-olds racing. Yep, racing on the big track. So you'll see everybody right from 5 years old to however, I mean, they let them go. There's no age limit, right? So all the way to the grown-ups of grown-ups and that, and sprint cars. So you'll see the little kids to the fastest cars, that you can see out there on the track. You get a little bit of everything. And then there's things like you heard Brent say the word bombers. Bombers is something a little crazy, a little how would you say, a little redneck racing kind of style. So you'll get like the serious racing, the sprint cars, and not like the other stuff's not serious, but it's a little more on the fun rednecky kind of side.
Our novelty stuff. Yeah.
No, and everything just combines to make this beautiful racing sandwich that is just going to make your day. So please, you're going to want to come and hang out with us at the track, and you will be part of the family.
Yep. And Patrick's serving the sandwich that night.
I love food, man. So, and like Natalie, she said cheeseburger is the race day. That's what I do. Cheeseburger, Mountain Dew.
Racetrack food just tastes better.
Dude, it does. It does.
I could make a cheeseburger here tonight, or I can run over to the racetrack on Thursday and get one. No offense to anybody, but that racing cheeseburger that Leo grills up here at Meridian's the best.
They're just good.
They're going to be ready. Thursday night open practice at Meridian. Mother Nature's going to cooperate with us. It's going to be a beautiful week, I hope.
Yeah.
And it's a Speed Tour sprint car opener powered by Pit Stop USA. We want to welcome our friends from Schaefer Equipment. They're doing some trophy sponsorship with the Speedway, and this will be their first one. Along with the sprint cars, the Zamp NASCAR late models, the Pepsi Sprints, our non-winged sprint car division. So if you're an open wheel fan, you're going to enjoy this weekend. The Boise Bath and Kitchen Minis. And speaking of kids, the Trammell Construction Stingers are going to be making their season debut. So big night up here at Meridian. Then we'll roll into the 20th. You guys will have another test and tune down there. And then everybody in Utah, Idaho, Oregon, wherever you are watching, head on down to Magic Valley Speedway on the 27th as we get ready to kick this thing into real high gear as both of these facilities get up and running, Patrick.
Man, it gets busy, and it makes the summer, it flies by, but it's something else to see, because, you guys, you'll be bouncing back from Meridian a couple hours down to Twin if they're not racing up there. And so you're just flying back and forth between these two cities as much as you can. And we get to hang out, and somehow it's a job for us, right? It seems just like it's the funnest thing ever. But
no, man, I look forward to it. Let's catch up. We got a couple of folks while we were blabbering. Toby Gold, riding in the RMR pace car.
Toby Gold was a pace car driver at Rocky Mountain Raceways, yeah. And that man scared the life out of me in that pace car. I remember more than once. Miss you too, Toby. But yeah, that guy. So they gave him the pace car. They gave him a Hellcat for the pace car. And Toby knows how to press that gas pedal. So he I remember after one race, he told me to hop in. I was going to go down to the party in the pits. He said, "No, hop in. I'll take you down there real quick." Scared me. So I had to get out as fast as I could before I was going to have an accident. Yeah.
Our good buddy Richard, we had a driver a few years ago wanted to celebrate his main event win in the north end at Meridian because his friends and family always sat there. I'm like, that's cool. Richard's like, here, jump in, because he was waiting for me at the start finish line. I'm like, no, they're doing it over there. Oh yeah. The pace car driver is a different breed. Because as we were going down the backstretch, I think my feet were in the air and I was on the floor like, oh my God. That Corvette from Fairly Reliable Bob's was flying through there. Shelby said a big thank you and good luck to the teams. Somebody from down at RMR, one of our dear friends that miss Dan so much, which we do each and every day. But yeah, this is the cool part. Like what she's saying right here what Natalie was saying is, we grew up doing it. Yeah. And it's not only you and Dan and her family and parents, it's these fans that are in the grandstands, picking out their favorites, and it's cool to be able to root them on for a lifetime.
Yeah, it's something else, man. It's just, we'll say it a million times on this podcast, it's a family thing, and you'll understand when you go to the races. You don't have to be a racer. You can be like me, just like to go watch them, and you'll be part of the family.
Yep. So we'll close it with that one there, Mr. John Waters. like I said, all of these drivers always welcome on the show, and it's really easy to have kind words for a great family. You know, we don't even have to. You don't even have to make it up, Patrick. It just
Yep.
comes naturally because they definitely have been a great addition to. You know, with RMR closing, everybody's kind of like, oh, what's going to happen? And as a Meridian guy, and as Dan being up here with me those last few years, heck yeah, open arms, doors are open. Bring that family all the way up here if you have to. And so we appreciate the Waters family for doing that and coming up and still being a part. So there you go, man. It is time to go sprint car racing. And if you don't get picked up on the freeway by the Waters racing crew, watch on Flow Racing.
Good thing I got these headphones on.
You got headphones on. Can't hear a word I'm saying. Just don't tell her how to watch it over again.
Yeah, I know.
Flow Racing. It's going to be on. We'll probably go live right about 6:30 when we get ready to drop the green. Like I said, it's a full night of racing action, highlighted by the Speed Tour Sprint Cars, powered by Pit Stop USA for the season opener. If you guys are down at Magic Valley, be safe down there while you're practicing. I know Spank's going to be headed down there Friday to kick open those gates for you. I think Larry and Brandy are down there already, getting things all spruced up and putting a little spit shine on the Magic Valley Speedway already. So, and then we'll be down. We just got some of our sound and stuff up and running for Meridian. Your home is next. Mr.
Very
Waldner is going to come down. We'll get you all taken care of. And yeah, there we go. We'll be ready to race. Don't tell your wife.
Shh.
There's your taxi.
Oh, John's. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, if she asks, it was an accident, and you guys were just trying to help me out. So just don't. It wasn't. Just keep it on the DL. I love you guys.
You had a 7 a.m. accidental hitchhiking.
Yeah. I was down on the freeway at 7 a.m.
Hey, it happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, man. We're gonna hook up on a Sunday at some point. I'm hoping to get the Monroe folks on here. Those two kids. You know, we go from Natalie. We're gonna start down at 5 years old again and take a look at these kids that are running bandos all across the West, not just Meridian and Magic Valley. They've been putting on some miles. So we will talk to them and see what they're up to as they get ready for another event here in Magic Valley on the 27th. So they'll be headed down there.
Dude, I love seeing the perspective of the different age racers. But you know, can't wait to talk to the Monroes, and maybe we can get Natalie mentioned a couple names. You know, maybe we get Monty Bergner on here or Anthony Quintana on here. So
yep,
we'll get some other drivers, and we'll just keep this thing going. I love it, man.
Keep it rolling. So if you guys are watching now, you can also go to the YouTube page there at the bottom of your screen. Everything is locked on the YouTube page. Facebook page keeps it for like 6 months, but we just appreciate everybody jumping on and helping out and enjoying the show. And feel free to send us a message. Patrick or myself, if there's somebody you want on. Flying Brian Schaefer, a super modified driver. He's booked for June already. Look at that. I don't even have a calendar. I just
look at that. Filling it up.
Publicist checked in with me today and said, hey, we would love to get him on there. They're building some super modifieds for the reunion coming up. So, you know, if you guys got an idea, feel free. Let us know. If you just want to jump on, heck, we'll send you the link and you can be on and we'll just talk racing all night long.
Yeah, if there's anything you want us to ask, particularly, you know, ask a driver, let us know too. You know what I mean? We'll ask whatever. You know, we are open to anything. I'm asking Natalie what her favorite race day snack is. So, you know, we're open
and
to ask.
Now we're going to get cheeseburgers. Now I'm
yes.
hungry. All right, Patrick, man, I appreciate it. Enjoy your week. And we'll get together Sunday night. We'll talk about what happened at Meridian, our first race review, because it's going to be hot, sunny, and we're going to heat up the quarter mile. So for Patrick, Natalie Waters, and everybody hanging out with us, getting this thing up and running, we'll see you on Sunday night. Take care.